Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with InsideTheU. Just got done watching Legends Camp. It was great. I'll get into the prospects that were here. A lot of big names, a lot of guys from out of state, watching them compete, go through one-on-ones. Again, I'll get into those observations. But first, just great to see so many former players out here. You know, I was talking with Brian Monroe about this and John Beeson as well. It's great seeing all the former guys, and it's also something that it doesn't matter about status or accomplishments, although they did a great job during the mic intros at the beginning of camp telling everybody what round they were drafted in or their accomplishments at Miami or the NFL, and so many great players, and headlined by Michael Irvin, who had a good speech giving advice to the campers. I'll post that entire video on the channel so you can see that. But essentially, all these former guys, and speaks to the brotherhood, and this is the thing I have observed for years of covering this program, that within these guys, these former players, it doesn't matter their status or accomplishments. It's the fact that they played at Miami. It also doesn't matter the era that they played in. There were guys from the 90s or the 2010s, or just recently there were former guys here as well. Jaquan Johnson was out here, so guys that haven't been in the league a long time. Jaden Davis as well, a guy that didn't play at Miami a long time. So it doesn't matter. All those things don't matter when it comes to playing for Miami, being a Hurricane, being a part of this brotherhood that they talk about. Again, all that mattered was that they played at Miami. So it was good watching them interact with each other. There was over 20 guys, certainly more than that, but a lot of guys were back, and that was good to see. Also, too, it was good watching them give advice to some of the current players who are here. I saw Clinton Porras give some good advice to Tyree Evans. Just anything that they could kind of provide is always good. And also other former or current players were here as well, working, helping out. It was good seeing Darian Mensah out here throwing the ball a little bit, and just kind of watching these guys, as they're getting ready for their season. But it was great, and there were nearly 200 campers, I think, that were here. And just speaking of the quarterbacks who were here at the camp, 2027 Miami commit Israel Abrams was out here. He didn't participate, but he was certainly very active with his personality. He was engaging, talking to a number of guys who were participating, cheering them on, celebrating with them, not just the wide receivers, defensive guys as well. And really, that was going on right behind me on these one-on-one drills. These wide receivers versus defensive backs. He was very engaged in all of it, which was great to see. You could see his personality. It was just good to see him out here, as well as 2028 Miami commit Knox Annis out of Jacksonville. I focused on him recently, watching him in spring ball, but something I saw today, and he did participate out here, going through all the drills that Miami current quarterbacks participate in. So it's very similar, in terms of, pocket presence is very big. So they're working on shuffling their feet and making accurate throws into the netting, whatever it might be. But something that stood out to me watching him practice, talking to his high school coach, Bullock there, Coach talked about how he just has a love for the game, Knox does. And just watching him here in this environment, you could see it too. So again, just very engaging, talking to his teammates. He was talking to CJ Cipher, a 2029 Miami target, quite a bit. Just a very personable guy, Knox, and just watching him, he'd make a good throw and he was happy about it. He'd kind of cheer, small celebrations. Also too, this is something small, but just being here. One time one of the pads in one of their drills, not the one he was working on, but kind of just waiting in line, kind of got out of sort, and he goes over there, instead of a Miami staffer, he goes over there and rearranges it and puts it in place for his teammates there, the fellow quarterbacks, to go through the drills. And that just kind of, such a small thing, but yeah, he definitely, you could see when you hear he's got a love for the game, watching him perform, watching him go through drills, watching him mess with the pad a little bit, you can kind of just see that. But I thought he threw the ball well. I thought he was accurate. There were some throws on the runs that were difficult. And, he wishes, kind of watching him in one drill, they had a throw in the net, maybe 30 yards, and he was just missing his target, but really close. But certainly throws a good ball, and he's certainly someone to watch for 2028. And as I mentioned, 2029 class. Good to watch CJ Cipher, a guy out of Georgia. Watching him perform, just kind of has a good maturity to his game, the way he throws the ball. Again, accurate, and CJ and Knox were talking quite a bit throughout the camp, kind of developing a little bit of chemistry, so that was good to see. And Judd Anderson went over to speak with CJ a little bit, a guy from Georgia. So just good to see the quarterbacks, Darian throwing it a little bit to different guys, just to see him throw a little bit. He didn't go through the drills that I saw, but again, just good seeing these quarterbacks, former Miami quarterbacks. Gino Torretta was out here. He actually threw a few passes. He said maybe about 25 passes, but it's just good seeing him, and it's fun when they go down the line and he's able to say, a Heisman Trophy winner. And so that will always be with him. It's always been with him. Good to see him. And then another Miami quarterback, Ja'Cory Harris. And if you guys have followed the history of Inside the U, you know how important Ja'Cory, that group at Northwestern, those guys out of Miami-Dade County during that year was so pivotal in our coverage and kind of our development as a website. Shout out to Northwestern, all of those guys, Booker T, and everybody else from South Florida, part of that recruiting class. Kind of our build up during Inside the U, the beginning days of it. Just staying on the offensive side of the ball, at running back, Xander Edwards, a 2028 out of Jacksonville Bulls, the guy that I saw this spring and featured and focused and spoke to. So I didn't pay a lot of attention to him today, although I will say I talked to a couple other reporters who watched him out here and they came away impressed, and that does not surprise me. I came away impressed. Obviously it turned in a big season there at Bulls this past year, but just the way you watch him move about, go through each drills, the way his sense of urgency, but also his elite ability is clear to see, and it's fun watching guys like that. Again, I saw that in the spring, other guys saw it here, so it sounds like he had a good day. And then at wide receiver, fun watching these guys go through drills, one-on-ones. There are 5 guys in particular to pay attention to, a couple or 3 local prospects, Tremont Isaac there, Kamarian Young, and Zion Vilma. Those local guys, I thought each showed flashes today. You know, I thought Young had some really nice moments, some good stuff on one-on-ones. And then 2 other guys who I thought were the best receivers out here from out of state. And again, a lot of out of state guys, which was good to see. Guys that competed, Maddox Davis out of Georgia, top 5 wide receiver in his 28 class. Had a chance to talk with him briefly afterwards, but he enjoyed it. He enjoyed his time here. He enjoyed competing. Felt like he got off to a little bit of a slow start. I didn't really feel that way, but going back through the film, I'll definitely take a look at it. But he felt like he finished strong, and I watched him during those reps, and he definitely did a good job. Really tough to guard on one-on-one situations. Good route runner, has good speed, good separation. He made a really nice diving catch in the end zone on a one-on-one drill. Post his highlights when I get to him, but he did a good job. But I thought the best receiver out of Utah here was Dennis Tuaone, and I probably didn't pronounce his name correctly, but he was great. Dennis did a really good job of just off the line of scrimmage is where it really stood out to me. He's just a really good route runner. Catches the ball well, good speed, just kind of the all-around package. I thought he looked great. I thought he was the best wide receiver out here from what I saw, my observations, but he was great. And again, good seeing all these guys compete on some one-on-one stuff, going against some defensive backs. What's great too, it got a little chippy in terms of barking back and forth, but that's the competitiveness that you want to see at these kinds of events. And all these guys are getting ready for their high school season right here in the middle of summer. But it was good. It was good watching these guys, and certainly the defensive backs paid a lot of attention to them. You know, and these safeties were all considered top 10 safeties in the country in that 2028 class, led by Casey Barner, #1 ranked safety out of Georgia, #1 in the country. Good to see him here. Again, these out-of-state guys coming to this camp, I think is a big win for Miami. To get these guys on campus, I've always felt this way. I feel like you got a chance, and I think that's what's good about it. Get these guys down here, and a couple other guys out of Arizona. Again, top 10 safeties, Jalen Easterling Flores, as well as CJ Craig James. Thought with good size, you can see why Miami would covet them, as well as other schools, but Miami likes that size. And even Barner, not the tallest at 5'10", but just a really solid build safety. And just watching these guys compete in the drills, I thought all 3 of them looked good with what they did. Also, cornerback stood out to me, Jordan Hicks out of California. I always enjoy when the California guys come down here to Miami. I spoke with them briefly. I spent a couple summers in LA back in college, so I always have a strong connection to California, and kind of always interested in when California prospects come here and see what they think about Miami in terms of whether it's weather, location, whatever it might be. And one thing that Jordan said was he thought it'd be a little bit more warmer. He thought it'd be more humid. So he liked it. He enjoyed his time here. And certainly that connection, being from Mission Viejo, he's certainly aware of Dante Wright out of Long Beach Poly, a Miami commit. So, just good to see that California influence down here. And you see it with the current team. With Mensa and Barque and these other guys, you talk Hayden Lowe, these other guys in the program already here from California, which is good. I think it's a good, even though it's a distance really far away, certainly you've had success with some California guys over the years, and I think they can fit in well with Miami here. One thing that was disappointing from my standpoint, I did not get a chance to focus on the offensive line or defensive line that was here today. They were inside for most of the camp. I was outside, and and just didn't make it over there. Short camp, I was trying to spend as much time as I could watching these other positions, so I wish I would have been able to do that. So you're not going to see a lot of content or really even observations. That's why that position group in particular. But Jaden Bryant, recent Miami commit, he was out here, didn't participate, but was out here involved, spoke to people. It's just great to see, the prospect, highly regarded prospect out of South Carolina. So again, kind of just sticking with that theme, good to see out-of-state guys, but also locally. Of course, we know it's such a big deal, but just in general, just kind of wrapping with this, good to be out here. Great seeing so many former players, and really it's a lot of fun seeing these guys and some of the guys I've covered during their time here, and just kind of catching up with them when I get a chance, seeing them again. I'm out here at the practice, here at Cobb Stadium. I'm looking at the indoor practice facility. I'll have another update on that. If you haven't seen it yet, check out the drone video update from a couple weeks ago. But just thinking about it, fall camp is not that far away. But we'll get through the rest of the summer, more camps to come, more camp coverage, more events, and shout out to everybody that put on the event, but shout out to all these players, again, for competing, for coming out here, honestly just giving us a chance to watch them perform. It's always great. I always enjoy watching these guys in action. It's good seeing them on film. It's good learning about them. But my favorite thing about doing this is watching the guys perform, compete, and practice, see how they do when things go well, when they don't go quite as well, how they bounce back, and just the interactions, kind of learn about their personalities just a little bit, get to see them out here. But thanks again for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Really appreciate your support. It's always a big help, and stay tuned to the channel. I got highlights of all these guys. I'll continue to roll them out as quickly as possible. But have a good rest of the day, and take care.